My name is ToriLe, and this is my parity function for Lab1. In our parity function, we need to start off by declaring some variables that we need for the function. So what I did is declare an integer called sum1s. So this integer counts the number of ones. There's another integer that we've declared as I. We'll be using this in the function as a for loop. So the next portion of the function is to make that for loop, which will loop through the buffer. And we know that the buffer is a string, while iBuff length is the length of the string. So what parity on bytes is going to do is, while the integer that counts the number of ones is less than the buffer length, we're going to go through one string at a time. So buff is a pointer to the first character of the string. If whatever in the first character equals 1, the program increments the counter by 1 and goes to the next character to check to see if there's any more ones to be added to the total number of ones. If what's stored in that character is not 1 or 0, then we know there's a problem. The loop will just stop and it won't do any more work. In parity.h, we define 3 options. So in this case, we would return par error. So essentially, in this loop, it checks the first character first. It checks if it is 1. If it is, it adds to the total number of ones and moves to the next character until the string is complete. So if it's not 1, we check 0. And if it's not 0, then we return an error. So that takes us through the string. So because we took care of any characters that are not 1s or 0s, we can now determine the other 2 options we defined in parity.h. So to determine if the parity is even or odd, we can use a modulus because it determines whether or not the number has a remainder. If the result of the mod operation is 0, then we can return even because even numbers when divided by 2 don't have remainders. And when the result of the mod operation is 1, then we can return odd because odd numbers have remainders when divided by 2. So that's the completed parity.c function. So now we can run the program. So when we right click on our program and we go to properties, we go to debugging, and we can see that in my command argument, I put 3 options. One of them is a parity odd, then there's parity even, and then this one should give an error message. So when we run the program, we can see that it works because for the first string, it gives the total number of ones being 3, so that would give us an odd parity. That for the second string, the number of ones is 6, and that gives us an even parity. And for the third string, we get an error message because there are characters that are not 1s or 0, so the function works.